let's just dive right into this explainer. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop? Like you're just operating on autopilot? Well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're taking a spirit hacker's perspective on subconscious belief reprogramming. We're going to look at some wild source material, from cellular biologists to out-of-body explorers, and they all point to one totally radical idea. Basically, the physical world, it's a projection, and your subconscious mind is the code rendering it. So think about this. What if you're actually living inside a program that you didn't even write? This is the ultimate system architecture overview, where we figure out exactly how your mind's software builds your physical world. Imagine walking around in this dense, super immersive virtual reality, but you've completely forgotten you even have the headset on. These sources are telling us that all our limitations, our fears, those invisible boundaries, they aren't hard-coded into the universe. They're just learned programs.
And to kick things off, we have to drop a massive truth bomb from cellular biologist Dr. Bruce Lipton. Look at this number, 95%. According to his research, 95% of your life is driven by automated, inherited subconscious programs. Think about that for a second. The vast majority of the decisions you make, your reactions, your daily experiences, they're all being executed by background scripts that were probably installed before you even turned 7 years old. Kind of explains a lot about why we sometimes throw adult tantrums, doesn't it?
So let's look at the operating system itself and this 95-5 cognitive split.
The contrast here is just staggering. You've got this tiny 5% conscious mind, right? That's the visionary. That's the part of you setting the goals, desiring change, dreaming up this beautiful future. But it is fighting against a 95% processing behemoth. Your subconscious mind is just stubbornly executing all that old automated code and conditioned routines. This is exactly why sheer willpower so often fails us. I mean, you literally cannot outmuscle a supercomputer when you only have access to 5% of the system resources.
And this brings us to an incredible quote from Bruce Lipton. "Genes don't control our destiny, our beliefs and environment do." His work in epigenetics completely flips the script. The old way of thinking told us we were just victims of our genetics, that our DNA was this unchangeable destiny. But Lipton's research proves that your cellular environment, which, by the way, is hugely influenced by your subconscious perception, actually controls your genetic activity. You aren't condemned to any inherited limitation at all. You just need a software update. Moving on to the architecture of reality, let's talk about how this code actually renders. To really get the rendering engine, we have to look at researchers like Dana Kippel. She points out that the universe is definitely not just empty space. It is a sentient plasma field. This plasma makes up 99.9% of the visible universe, and it acts as a giant cosmic mirror. It doesn't judge you. It simply takes your inner programming, your subconscious vibration, and bounces it straight back at you as your outer reality. So life isn't happening to you. It is quite literally responding to you. And this rendering process, it happens way faster than you can blink. The Enlightened University curriculum teaches that physical reality is not some static, solid thing. Instead, it's a holographic projection flashing in and out of existence at Planck-time, which is literally the smallest measurable unit of time in quantum physics. In that tiny, infinitesimal gap, reality dismantles and returns to a neutral zero-point state. It's just sitting there, waiting for the instructions of your subconscious code to reconstruct it. Sort of like the refresh rate on a computer monitor, but on a cosmic scale. This whole process perfectly illustrates Bashar's triad, which shows us the exact mechanical sequence of how a hidden definition generates your reality. Look at the flow here. It always starts with a definition, or a core belief. That belief triggers an emotion, which is just energy in motion, right? Then that emotional frequency rewires your neurological thought patterns, and finally, it outputs as physical behavior. The world you're looking at right now is just the final echoing confirmation of this exact sequence. Okay, so how do we fix it? Let's talk about debugging the fear construct and identifying system malware. Out-of-body explorer Darius J. Wright discovered some mind-blowing truths about fear. As he says here, "I put myself in my own self-imposed prison." By leaving his physical body, he realized that fear isn't just some fleeting biological feeling. Out there in the astral realm, fear is a literal, self-imposed construct that physically traps your consciousness. People carrying deep subconscious fears literally experience them as prison walls. But the crazy twist? They built the walls themselves. Wright points out that these thoughts and fears are physical manifestations. They sit right within the electromagnetic field generated by our hearts, acting as physical blocks that we just can't see with our biological eyes.
But when you're out of body, operating outside the super narrow bandwidth of visible light, you can literally see these thought forms just hanging there in your field. It's wild. They're literal geometric structures of corrupted data.
So the ultimate exploit to debug this malware? It's surprisingly simple, though it takes a ton of awareness. If you react with fear, if you fight it, resist it, or hate it, you actually give it more energy. You're just feeding the corrupted thought form. But Wright found that sending unconditional, unfiltered love dissolves the corrupted code entirely, like smoke. When he stopped fighting terrifying entities out of body and just surrendered to love, the entrapment just vanished.
Now let's grab the reprogramming toolkit and look at the diagnostic and overwrite utilities we have at our disposal. Our sources give us some incredibly specific diagnostic tools here. Bruce Lipton is a huge advocate for clinical muscle testing. It's a brilliant way to bypass your conscious mind entirely and pinpoint exactly where that 95% subconscious is disagreeing with your goals. Other texts talk about revoking matrix contracts, which basically means energetically opting out of ancestral or societal software agreements you never even signed up for. And author Gail Knox highlights chakra balancing to lighten your energetic load, basically clearing your emotional cache so you aren't weighed down by obsolete data. And all of these tools point straight back to one absolute rule: reclaiming your authority. Nothing can touch or entrap your soul unless you believe it to be so. As Darius J. Wright emphasizes over and over, no external force, entity, or system can control your reality unless you subconsciously give it permission. You literally have to believe in the limitation for it to even render in your simulation. Let's get into the fun part: executing the override, using manifestation as system hacking. Bashar's 5-step manifestation formula is essentially life's instruction manual for overriding the physical matrix. Step 1. Follow your passion. That's just your higher mind pinging you with energy. Step 2, take action. You have to output it physically. Step 3 is crucial: zero expectations. Do not micromanage how the code complies. Just let it happen. Step 4, stay positive, even when things look like they're crashing, because that keeps your bandwidth open. And Step 5, continuously investigate those sneaky limiting beliefs that pop up along the way.
Now, if you're looking for a highly structured exploit, check out this table from the Enlightened University. It maps the exact sequential protocol to safely compile and execute a new reality. Notice how it flows? It starts up high with a conceptual vision and desire, then drops down into belief and acceptance, which is where you secure that subconscious buy-in. Then you push it into physical density through intention and action by literally mimicking the preferred reality. Finally, you seal the deal with allowance, total non-insistence. You completely step away from the keyboard and just let the program run. Skip any of these stages and you're just introducing resistance into your compiler.
And here is where it gets really crazy. As you run these new programs and drop all that dense sphere malware, you actually start activating dormant biological hardware. For years, science dismissed massive portions of our 13-strand DNA as just junk. But these sources argue that it is not junk at all. It's dormant code. When you activate it through higher frequencies, you awaken things like enhanced intuition, telepathy, and the ability to interact with the multidimensional nature of our reality. You are literally upgrading your biological hardware to match your new software.
So we've covered how your 5% conscious mind can actually grab the wheel back from that 95% subconscious autopilot. You clear the fear malware, you override the cosmic plasma mirror, and you remember that you are the sole administrator of the simulation. If your beliefs are the literal source code rendering the physical world around you, what reality are you going to compile tomorrow?